arrived in Bogota and started our work at Justapaz, the Center for Justice, Peace, and Nonviolent Action of the Mennonite Church. We were ready for 2.5 days of training on Colombia.
Sherry over here. Just came in. Keep praying for Choco. Novita.
Put an end to your evils and occupy yourself with helping the poor. Maybe that way your Majesty can continue living in peace and prosperity.
We met with representatives from the peace and justice community and churches to find out what was happening now, to get the history of Colombia, and find out the theological basis for the peace process. After all that, we headed out into the country to begin our journey. It took us an entire day to reach the first community that we would visit, where we would hear the people tell their stories.
People were running up and down because they were attacking us.
Llegó un momento que ya no sabíamos qué íbamos a hacer.
And we didn't know what we were going to do.
¿Para dónde nos íbamos?
Or where we were going to go. But we had heard of other communities that had left their homes, and they were not. Since they left everything, they were not doing well.
Casa donde íbamos a dormir.
And we'd all get together in groups in houses together to sleep.
Porque nos parecía que en ese momento nos iban a llevar, nos iban a matar.
Because we were afraid that they were going to take us away or kill us during the night.
Y nunca la abandonemos.
And we never abandoned the
Nos
town.
manteníamos ahí unidos.
En ese tiempo de violencia se acercaban a mí muchos a preguntarme, Pastor, ¿qué hacemos?
So during these times of violence, many came to me and said, Pastor, what should we do?
Y yo les respondía, busquemos de la presencia del Señor, que Él nos indicará qué hacer.
And I always said that we should look for God's presence, and God will show us what to do.
Yo vi que Dios estaba con nosotros ya.
And
La presencia.
I don't know what happened, but later we asked the soldiers what had happened, and there weren't any shots that were. Nobody shot anybody here in the community. Nobody was shot, and God protected us.
Inspired by the stories of how this entire community had stood on faith and survived the war, we got to see their community school, the high school that's still in development, and to hear their plans for more community development. We left Las Palmas inspired by their faith and their wisdom, and wondering how in the world we might be able to partner with them to help their future dreams come true. Our next experience was spending an entire day with Congressman Jim McGovern, a Democrat from Massachusetts. We went to visit with the community of Chinulito and heard their stories of how they were desperately trying to return back home. We got to wander around and see the various states of disrepair in this community that had once been home to so many people. We then joined them in their meeting with the governor of Sincelejo in solidarity. We headed off to La Libertad, an Afro-Colombian community on the Caribbean Sea, with a long history of resistance that had survived the recent violence and was organizing now in order to save their land on the Caribbean from developers. From its early resistance to African captivity, throughout history, this community has fought and continues to fight to be free.
With this news.
From La Libertad, we traveled over a very rough road on our way to Macayepo. Macayepo is a community of small farmers, otherwise known as campesinos. When we arrived, they were happy to show us how fertile and rich their land is.
The idea is to recover and recuperate all of the natural and ancestral crops that they had before the Spanish got
Esta
here.
planta se da así silvestre.
This one grows wild.
Yo no veo la razón por qué me pasa esto a mí. Fueron asesinados y en tristeza.
This community found healing through the creation of a song that told the story of their trials and their triumphs. And now they are more than ready to find ways to bring their crops to market. That's why they need a road.
Yeah.
You just suck everything out of the land, and then one of the things they're doing in this area is they're inviting people to plant this as a cash crop. They give them some seed and some fertilizer the first year. They get involved, they plant, and then they can't afford it the second year because they don't give it to them, and they take over their land.
Becca, what does it say?
Alright, it says women peace builders, women sowing dreams and flavors of peace. It's a therapy that, with the exercise of sewing, I think, produces health from trauma and cultural empowerment.
The paramilitaries, they accuse these communities of being or of having ties with the guerrilla. Down there was a guerrilla camp in this area that is called Las Brisas. So they arrived down there. They killed 13 people there. And they just started walking this way. They arrived to this community, armed. They were going to execute some people. But the paramilitary commander received an order, and they didn't kill anyone. They gave them one night for them to abandon the town, to get it empty. They said that whomever were to stay, they were going to kill them. So all of the community left the town. 245 families. They kidnapped a few of them, and then the next day they released them. There was this good court sentence or court ruling for Mampuhan. They ordered for the government to rebuild, to rehabilitate, and to pay each family approximately $70,000. But the government doesn't have any money to pay for that. These are the same drawings that are in the tapestries.
This is before. It was this one on the left is what it was.
Gracias, Señor, por el pan y da pan a los que tienen hambre, hambre de justicia, los que tenemos pan. Gracias, Señor, por el pan. Amén.
It may not seem like very much to tell stories.
De pronto parece que no sirve para nada contar sus historias.
But I have seen stories change hearts and minds. So stories are important because stories create community. And stories create solidaridad. And sometimes solidaridad is all we have. We are the body of Christ, the cuerpo de Cristo. And we need each other. We are all in this together now. And now we have different jobs to do. This is just the beginning of our job. And we promise that we will work very hard to take your stories back and change hearts and minds. And to continue to walk with you as you build your community and you grow into your vision.